How we doing? Everybody doing great? Just realized the music really wasn't on, so my bad. Oh boy. So I'm really excited to get back into doing these Aurora live streams. I've got a lot of things coming up. We put another scene out today. A lot of you all have probably seen that scene. Odd to say it that way, I know. But it's a newly edited version of that scene, and we've got a lot of stuff happening. We made the big announcement last Friday that, hang on. Let me turn this down a little bit. There we go. So we made the big announcement last Friday that Fame on Fire, their hit song Chains, will be the opening theme song for Aurora Season 1. And yes, I did say Season 1. We are moving forward with the very ambitious goal of doing a 13 episode Season 1. Which, to let you all know, a little peek behind the curtain, I've got about 4 to 5, well 5 if you count roughs, but 4 episodes of animation in the can for up to tie down stage. If you all know what that is, we'll talk more about it here in the live stream. If you don't know, a little animation education information, we'll talk about that stuff. I've got tie downs for all major scenes except for some talking sequences up through episode 4 in the can. I'm just going through and doing some polish on some other stuff, and roughs have been started for episode 5. So a lot of stuff being worked on there. I've got release dates, kind of tentative release dates right now. We're going to talk about those later this week. I'm going to release the tentative schedule for the release for the OVA, the original video animation, the 1 hour long special that we're working on. There's a release date in place, and it's not far off. But I'm making sure I get a few things nailed down. We've got to record a few more voice actors to flesh out the story of the 1 hour long OVA, but we are working. We are working hard on that aspect of things. The website will be back up on Wednesday. A fresh look. It's not really a relaunch. It's just kind of a fresh look for everything. The landing page, how you get to things, story elements, lore, the store, all that kind of stuff. And we've got some book information dropping soon. So, been working on a lot of stuff on this end. It is a one-man show pretty much with Aurora. It's just me. But we've got things moving in such a direction now that I'm hoping to be able to pay some people to do some other stuff soon. It's just me because I can't pay anybody to do anything else, right? So the only thing I can really afford to pay for are licensing deals and voice acting stuff. All art, all animation, all effects, all marketing, all that kind of stuff at all, I have to do. So it does make it a little hard, but I'm built for it, as they say. So I am excited where everything's going. Aurora is really starting to rock. Our social media stuff is really picking up. Our TikTok, Instagram, among others. People are really starting to find us and respond to the work that I'm putting out. And it's all love. At the end of the day, it's all about this story. And with all that being said, I think I want to change the playlist. This is more of kind of like a dark metal kind of playlist. Let me find another playlist here. Where are we at? There we go. A little more chill, a little more taking it easy, centric. Easy taking it centric. if that is a term. I don't believe it is, but so yeah, that's everything going on over here on this end, and I was really excited to make that big announcement on Friday. That was a big announcement. I got to hang out with the guys on their bus. We discussed some things. The band, Fame on Fire, real cool guys. Hung out with them for a while, and we just talked about Araura, the vision, and everything, and some things we might be working with them in the future on as well for the story. So stay tuned, buckle up. We got things happening. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to some animation. Let's see. So I'll kind of do some step-by-step kind of stuff here. Kind of discuss what I'm doing and what kind of the process is. So what I'm doing is I am going to be bringing in a PNG sequence. Some of you all saw me work on this before, shots of me working on this before on social media and stuff like that. This is just a pretty simple shot of Anea in some flames from the opening scene of the OVA. I'm tightening up some of the action sequences. A lot of the talking and dialogue stuff is done, animated in the can. So I'm tightening up some animation stuff, some stuff for the opening sequence, and I'm going back and reworking some stuff for the ending sequence as well. We have some new stuff I'm adding and injecting for that. So, but anyway, let's just get right to it. I'm gonna hit Control. Well, I'm on Mac, so I'm gonna hit Option Command I. We're gonna bring in our PNG sequences. Then we're gonna go. I've got everything stacked how I need it. So background flames will be coming in. Then we'll go up a level and we'll bring in Anea. That is it. So I'm going to make a new folder here. Just call it PN. If I type PNG sequences. I just like to keep everything organized, so I'm going to pull everything into this. Boom. There we go. So now I can just pull everything onto my stage. So this right here is a little bit out of size, so we're going to increase that just so slightly. There we go. We'll bring in foreground flames. I got it marked FG flames, so we'll bring that in. Oh, if it'll come in. There we go. Make sure I grab it. Pull all the way out to the edge. I want to bump that up a little. Then background flames, of course, are going to go in the background behind Anea. I put that dark solid down just so I can see how everything's mapping, how everything's tracing out, and that will eventually be replaced with a background. So, okay, so you got Anea in flames set right here. So, what I'll eventually do is we'll bring this whole thing in here, but for now we're going to work on it right here. Just keep it as like a separate sequence. So first thing I want to do is this, it always imports at 30. So what I want to do is I want to use Control or Command Option G, and that's going to bring us to our interpret footage window. After Effects always brings your sequence in at 30 frames per second. I'm animating at 24 frames per second. Like Araura is animated at 24 frames per second, which is standard kind of classic anime look. So, but I do some tricks. So this shot of Anea I'm going to leave at 30, but the background flames I'm going to set to 24, and the foreground flames I'm going to set to what just happened? Hang on a second. Like all of my windows just disappeared. Okay, I just hit all my windows over here. Apparently, Option Command H hides all of your windows. That's handy to know. I did not know that. That was scary for a minute. Okay, I was like, what? Where'd everything go? Okay. And that, and that, and that. Okay, we're back. So now that we're in here, foreground flames. Come on. My dialogues aren't coming up. What did I do to my computer just now? Don't need Photoshop. That's something else. My computer's kind of bugging right now, so. Oh, really? Alright, well, we'll keep that there. Foreground flames. There we go. Okay, it's working now. So foreground flames are going to go 24. Alright, that's all I need to do. So, for now, I'm just going to pull this up to here, play it, see what that looks like. Okay. Okay, so I'll pull these out, make the fire look a little bit different for sure. There we go. Okay, then she kind of disappears, which that's kind of cool, but that's not what we want. So I'm going to duplicate the Anea layer here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to Time Reverse Layer, and this is a little trick. Overlap. So she squints her eyes as her hair is blowing around, and then by doing a duplicate and a time reverse layer, it just reverses that sequence. So what's going to happen is she's going to open her eyes back up, as you can see right there. So pull that, Control D will duplicate that. The fire, both fire layers, will duplicate those. Bring those in. And now you kind of see what we're going for here. Now, this sequence will not be 5 seconds long. This is just to give us some kind of like trimming room. But it is kind of a, everything's kind of moving violently kind of scene. So, and it's supposed to look wild like that. So, and a lot of you all, you know, watched me when I was doing the animating the sequence, the fire sequence and everything about a week or so ago. That was one of the streams we did where we did fire effects and stuff like that. Alright, cool. Alright, so now if I come into here, now I'm going to pull the Anea in Flames. I'll pull it down here. I'm going to hide these layers. I'll hide the adjustment layer there. Boom. So now, by doing this, bring this whole sequence in here. And as you can see now, we kind of have an anime aesthetic. I'm going to stretch this all the way out. And it's going to take some time to buffer. But you'll see kind of what we're going for here. Now, these filters I've got set up in here. Anime filter 1, anime filter 2. I've got basically two of them stacked on top of each other. So basically, it just gives that TV broadcast aesthetic, which is what I'm really going for, that classic anime style. It took a long time to figure out how to set these filters up, so I did watch a lot of YouTube videos. I did my own little experimenting and tooling around with blurs and stuff to see how that needed to look, lighting effects, and all that kind of stuff. So glows. So this will take a minute to render. It's only rendering at half, so if I set this down to a third, it'll render a lot faster. Theoretically. Theoretically. Always theoretically. There we go. Now she's humming. There we go. And what I'll do, I'm just testing this out to make sure these filters look proper. Crack open another cold Diet Coke. So, okay, and then she did, okay, so, yeah. So that's what I want this to look like. So, and really what I'll do, I like to have that little eye-opening option there because I like to give myself a little scissor room while I'm cutting these sequences. So she ends right here. On her last frame is frame 114. So we're going to pull this back to right there. Actually, we're going to pull it back to right here. Right there. So now there'll be no weird cut there. Just repeated motion. So cool. I'm into it. We're gonna fit this to the screen. We're gonna go back into Anea and Flames here. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to pre-compose. We're just gonna say FG Flames. We're gonna pre-compose here. We're gonna go BG Flames, and we are going to pre-compose Anea. There we go. So now if this is all done, so Ray, what does that mean? Well, we're gonna come in here, get our we're going to start messing with some things. So we're going to come in and start using our effects. I'm going to give myself a little more room on this effects panel over here. For one, there we go. Go get my Gaussian blur, pull it onto foreground. Find myself a nice spot right here where it's brightest. So what I want to do is I want to start messing around with the foreground flames because they should be wild and unpredictable. So I'm going to set this one all the way up to 250, but we're gonna play with it. So we're gonna come back here. We're at 250. We're gonna come back here and put this at 10. We're gonna set a keyframe here at 10. Start mapping out our keyframes. So we're at 10. I'm going to put a keyframe right here. And then we're going to have it kind of blow up right there. And then we're going to have it come back down. 10. So I'm just going to copy, Control V. So I've got that highlighted. I copied it. So where I'm at in the timeline, hit Control V, it pasted it right there where it needed to go. So then we're going to come back. We're still at 10. So we're going to get 10 right there. We're going to bring this up to 250. Then when it starts to blow up right here, no, that's not 250. It's, there we go. It starts to blow up right here. Then we're going to go even higher. We're going to go 350. Really blur that out. As you can see, it's working quite nicely for us. So I'm going to bring this down to 100 right here. Animate that, and then where it bounces out. Then we want to see the embers, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring it back down to 10. We want to see those embers. See how they light up right there? If I go there, they're blurred out, but then if I bring it back down to 10, you can see them. I want to see those, because the glow effect we're going to put on there is really going to make that pop. And then we're going to bring it back around. Right here, we're going to set a keyframe. And right here, we're going to bring it up to 300. And then we're going to bring it back down to about 120. And once this fades out, we're going to bring it back down to 10 to get those embers in there. And that's going to be it. So let's give that a run. Yeah. Me likey a lot so far. So now we're going to do something similar with the background flames, but it's not going to be as animated because it's not right up in your face. So what you want to do is come up here. We're going to grab Gaussian blur again. I already had it open. Derp. So as you can see back there, we'll pull up to 50. So let's see what this looks like in our main comp. So we can kind of see what the flames and everything are going to do and how they're going to kind of look with that anime filter on there. I want to back this out. I'll back this out to about 50. Yeah, right there. So we'll come back in here, and we're locking this bad boy down right now. So we're looking good, looking strong. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in here, background flames. I'm going to start dropping the opacity. I want to be able to see some of that through there. Now we're going to go get a glow effect. Just regular glow. We're going to bring that on here. So what we want to do, up that radius. And up that threshold. So, and then now this is the part that we're the glow intensity. This is what we're going to play around with. So we're going to go into effects for this one. Glow. Now, glow. Let's see. Make sure I'm not steering this wrong here. So glow threshold. Oh, nope, not that. Glow threshold, glow intensity. That's what we're going to play around with. So as we get going here, go here, another keyframe, another keyframe. Because here, we're going to expand these. We'll play around with the tones. Those right back in there. So now you'll be able to see kind of how the flickering is moving now. So now we're going to move this down, move that up just a hair. Or do I want to move that down or up? Down. Just a hair. And we'll get some of that in there. Actually, you know what? I think we'll Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. Now all we're gonna do right there, so 67.5 and 1.2. So we're gonna copy this, and then all we're gonna do is we're gonna copy this whole thing, and we're gonna repeat that lighting pattern toward the end over here. We're actually gonna move all this toward the end so that when it ends right there, the lighting remains the same. We're just going to grab this here in the middle. And just give it a wilder look. We let it run. And you can see what it's doing. So now, we got this really cool look of the background fire and everything happening. It is doing something here. Hang on. Right. Let's see. Let me see, right here, I think I want to delete that. Okay, that's what I was seeing. Okay, so okay, right there, I'll delete that because it was too sudden. It wasn't gradual enough in the brightening to the yellow. So then I'll move this down here so it's not so sudden. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, okay. I'm more on board with that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab another glow. I'm just going to put a second glow on here. But this time what I'm going to do is I'm not going to, I'll put it above this one. That makes the difference. So what I want to do is I don't want to mess with a bunch of the different properties or anything. I just want to I'm just going for that little outer halo look right there. You see the little, if I turn this off, you'll see what I'm talking about. Like the extra little halo around the outside of it. That's what I'm going for. That is a hallmark of classic anime, like fire animation. That's like really one of the hallmarks of that look. And so I want to really make sure that we get that in there, because that really makes a difference in if it looks legit or not. You know what I mean? If it looks like that legit anime style, or if it doesn't. So, and that's one of the reasons everything's taken so long, is just like seeing where things were and then being like, you know what, doesn't look legit. You know what, doesn't look like 98 to 2003 Madhouse. Doesn't look like production IG. It doesn't look like those classic anime styles that I'm going for. And so at every one of those turns, I kind of hit the pause button, hit reset, and just kind of started some things over. That's why things are taking so long. But now we've got the process down, or I've got the process down. I'm figuring out how to do things the right way, and it's taking much less time now. Much less time. So let's see, at its zenith, this effect kind of right here. I'm going to say right here. Okay, so now I'll come in here, glow 2. One there. Glow radius. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for. All right, so let's do that. Glow 2. I'm gonna change this to multiply. Oh wait, no, that didn't work out the way I wanted to. We'll just leave it on add. Screen. There we go. It's screen. That's what I was looking for. Okay. Booyah. Okay. All right. I like it. So now we'll give that a play. Okay. So now we will come back up to foreground flames, and you guessed it, we're going to add a glow. But just one. Okay. So, a little bit different this time. We're not going to animate this glow so much. We're just going to there we go. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So that's what I'm looking for. There we go. And that was what I needed. So now we will take all this effects, hide those, go to our opacity for this layer. Oh, no, what are you doing? What are you doing, Ray? Bad Ray. Take the opacity down. Let's take it down to about 85. There you go. That is our fire effect. So now what we'll do, now Anea needs a blur. So we'll go get our Gaussian blur again. Bring that onto Anea. Now she's not going to get blurred out as much. I like to work from this effects panel right here. So 3 I find is kind of like that standard sweet spot, like old school anime kind of look. So but now when we get here, we start getting some flames licking up and kicking up. About right here, we're going to start playing around with our blur. Now once it's gone, now cameras, like if you look at old anime, you look at movies and stuff in general too, especially back when they were filmed on like 24 frames per second kind of film, like a flame would kick up and the blur sticks around for about a split second. So you got to keep that in mind. The blur, just going back to crisp right after the flame blows by, doesn't look legit, right? So unless you're just going for that, then by all means, don't let me tell you how to do your thing. But for me, I think you'll see when I play this. See? Now what we're going to do is we are going to, well, first off, we'll grab this, copy that, and then we'll put it back over here. Right there. We'll do that now. We're going to get the big boy in the middle. This is the fun one. This will be the fun one right here. So now we're going to get that one. This is going to be a slow burn. We're going to bring it down to 50. Let's bring it down to 40. And then we're going to bring it back down to 3. There. Let's play that and see how that looks. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Actually, this little whip by right here, I want this to go up higher. I think I want to delete this and go here. So let's see what that looks like. Nah, it's too high. It's too high. Let's take this down to 50. Yeah, we'll make that blur quicker right there. Come over here and delete this one. Actually, you know what? Let's play the whole thing, see what it looks like. You know what? I'm cool with that. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. So, let's save this. Wait. File, save. I'll save as. Goes in scene 1. Save that as an A in flames. Okay. So I'm liking that. 114 frames. And there. Okay. Nice. Okay, so see what it looks like here with the anime effects on top of it. I like it. I think it's pretty good. Now let's see. Let's see what it looks like at full render. There is a problem with... Oh, never mind. Okay. Yeah, so the full resolution is taken care of. Okay, we're good. Alright, we're going to let that... We'll take a break. We'll let that render out, and I'll come right back. It's going to take a few minutes for that to render out. So, take a break. I'll come back. Grab yourself a drink. everybody. Sorry it took so long. My mouse died. I had to plug it up. I couldn't get it to do anything. Of course, right? That would totally happen to me. So, anyway, this is what it looks like fully running, fully rendered. As you can see, anime quality, legit, exactly what I'm going for. So, what we're going to do now is I'm just going to bring the background in. We're going to tinker with the background, do some parallaxing, and then this little 1.5 second sequence will be finished. And I have already painted a background for this, so we'll do a we'll do a background painting live stream soon. I've got some backgrounds, another batch of backgrounds I need to get painted, so we'll do a background painting session very soon. So you all can see what my process is for that and everything. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. I'm gonna do this in the Anea window right here without the filters and stuff on it, so I can see exactly what that looks like. So we are going to go our import screen. I've got my background already pulled in here. Just a simple background. Don't need another. So just a very simple background. Back there. And what we'll do is I'm going to... Oh, by the way, if you're ever in After Effects and doing this, S is the scale button. I just like to pull them all down in case I like to tinker with anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to make that just a wee bit bigger. And I'm going to go position. You know, I like this track, but I want something more chill right now. There we go. So we'll go in here. Okay. Alright, so where I've got the stark gray background back here, that's important because I can change the opacity on this if I so choose. And I kind of want to right now, but I think what I might try to do is just try to make this actually a little bit larger in scale without doing it too much, because I painted this in 4K, but you got to be careful because you don't want to drop the quality of the image too much. Blim, blim, blim. So now I want this to parallax a little bit. I want this to move a little bit. So we'll come in here, position. I'm just gonna make it's gonna be like a real easy pan. Bring it to here. We're just going to move ever so slightly. Make sure it's not too fast. And a cool thing we can do, I just thought of this, I don't know why I didn't think about this earlier. Can't hear anything? Okay, can you hear me now, soldier? Let me know if you can hear me. That's kind of important. Alright, so after we've added all these effects and everything, what we're going to do is come in here. Now, Anea, drop the effects, transform now, position. What we'll do is, where we got this background moving this way, we could also start her like right here and have her moving ever so slightly to about just left of center. So let's see how that looks. You know what? I like that. I like how subtle that is. Let me pull this up on my phone because now you got me worried that nobody can hear me. Let's see, go there. Okay. Oh. All right, so I've got the start frame. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so now when this brightens right here, what we need to do is one more blur, one more Gaussian blur on my background. So I've already got that brought in. It's kind of blurred out. So what we're going to do is right here, when things start to kick up a little bit, about right here, we'll set a keyframe. There, or right here, about right here. Set the keyframe. Then we'll blur it out. About right there. Then we'll drop it back down to 10. Gradually though. Well, actually, you know what? It needs to be a quick kind of drop. So put a keyframe there. Then we'll bring us over here. Come down off of that a little bit. About right here. And then 10. I think that's all we're going to need out of that. Yeah, boy. There we go. I think that's it. I think that's got it. I do believe that has it. Okay, let's move back over here to our main composition. All right, I'm going to set this down to 1/4 just so it'll render. You can see it looks pixelated and jagged, but that's just because it's rendering at 1/4 of its processing power. So yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. There we go. That's got it. There it is. That's it. We did it. We did it. There we go. So let's see here. Let me think. So now I've got another folder called camera. And what this is, a lot of times I'll add shake effects or something like that. But I'm not going to do that for this. But I've already got that set up to do that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to set this to render, full render, export, add to render queue. I'm just going to put it on the desktop. And you know what? Now let's go Animation series, season 1, animation 101, scene 1, an A in flames, and we'll just export it to here. Fin. Final. And render. This might take a hot minute, so yeah, it's gonna take a minute. So I'll take a break and come back in just a moment when this is rendered. So this is nearing completion on the rendering, so I figured I would just go ahead and come back. Let's for the little bell. There we go. Ding, a bring, or whatever that is. So I wanna delete all these. So well, I'll do that later. I'll do that later. Alright, so we went from there. So let's go over here. I'm gonna grab this. We'll pull up the MP4 video right here. It's our final export video. Let's check her out. Looks pretty good. We'll take it. I like it. The glow up. Now let me show y'all what I'm talking about while we put all this hard work into this for so long. Let's find the original file of this. Okay, so this is the version of this from, when was this? 2021. You all have seen this shot before. This is the original version of that. So this original version of this. And honestly, this one wasn't good enough for me. And a lot of stuff with the show is kind of like that. Like a lot of things, I went back and decided I felt like I could do better with more time and make things pop a little more, make things look a little cooler, make things look a little more classic but modern at the same time. You know what I mean? And so that is why I've delayed this for so long, indefinitely really, because I wanted to just make sure that it was the best I can put out there. And at the time, you know, this right here was kind of the best I could put out there, but I knew I could do better, you know what I mean? So again, this one right here, the old, and this one right here, the new that we just finished live here on the stream. So that was a lot of fun. I'll be putting out a process video of this one tomorrow on social media. So if you haven't followed all the Araura social medias, check it out. I'll be going from pencils to this finished bit right here, like the whole process step-by-step video. So be looking forward to that. But yeah, thank you all, everybody who came by and just kind of lurked and hang out, and if you chatted or whatever. I appreciate everybody who came by and just kind of talked and kept me company while I work. This is what I do every night until about 3 or 4, sometimes 5 in the morning. Just sitting here and work through roughs and work through rough animations and sketches and all that kind of stuff, and animate and work on things and plan and do other stuff. So that's pretty much what I do. So sometimes it's hard for me to talk and just work on stuff at the same time. So I appreciate you all who hung out with me the whole night, kind of staying and hanging out with me, because when I get zoned in, I'm focused, I just don't talk. Like I am all business. And so, but doing a tutorial kind of thing like this, like we did tonight, it's a little bit different, it's a little bit different. So that's cool. That's cool. I had a good time doing this one, so I hope you all had a good time watching it. But I'm going to hop off here. That's going to do it for me for the night. I have more work to do, but I'm just going to go ahead and get off stream, and hope you all had a good time, enjoyed what you saw, and I'll come back on tomorrow night. I'll try to come back on nightly for at least an hour or two while I'm working in the studio. I'd love to do more during the day. That's my goal, is to do more streams during the day. I feel like the art streams would do better during the day, most likely. So, but anyway, if you're watching this video on demand, post your comments. Let me know what you think. Like I said, I'll be putting a process of this out tomorrow. And until then, y'all have a great night. Be safe, be good to each other, keep rocking. Thank you for believing in Aurora, and I will catch you all tomorrow sometime. Take it easy.